So there's a guy named Geoffrey, and Geoffrey is a pilot for Air Canada, like a real one. Captain's uniform, Boeing 777, hundreds of international flights, tens of thousands of passengers trusting him with their lives at 35,000 feet. Except he's not a real one. Let me explain. Now, this story starts around 2009. Geoffrey Wall is working for Air Canada, and he gets promoted. Big deal. He's now a captain, pilot in command, the guy in charge of the whole plane. And to get that promotion, you need a specific license in Canada called an Airline Transport Pilot License, an ATPL-A. It's the highest level of pilot certification you can get. It requires hundreds of additional hours of training, mandatory testing, strict evaluations. You don't just get handed one of these things. Geoffrey Wall never got one. What he had was a commercial pilot's license, which sounds impressive, but it's basically the step below. In Canada, a commercial license lets you fly smaller aircraft. It does not let you sit in the left seat of a Boeing 777 carrying 300 passengers from Toronto to London. That requires the ATPL-A, period. But Geoffrey had a plan. Instead of actually getting the license, he just said he had one. He misrepresented his qualifications to Air Canada. He misrepresented them to Transport Canada, the government regulator. He forged documents. And then he just kept showing up to work. And it worked. For 17 years, it worked. From 2009 all the way to 2025, Geoffrey Wall sat in the captain's chair of Air Canada flights. Boeing 767s, Boeing 777s, Boeing 787s, wide-body jets, long-haul international routes, over 900 flights, tens of thousands of passengers, and not one person caught it. Now, here's where your brain starts doing math, because 900 flights over 17 years means this guy was flying constantly. Domestic routes, international routes, probably crossing the Atlantic, probably crossing the Pacific. Full planes, real passengers, flight attendants, co-pilots sitting right next to him, air traffic controllers talking to him, ground crews, gate agents, all of it. And nobody ever pulled up his credentials and said, "Hey, wait a minute." And he was getting paid for all of this. Nearly 3 million Canadian dollars in salary over that time. That's over 2 million US dollars for a job he was not technically qualified to do. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but was he actually a bad pilot? Like, did anything go wrong? And here's the thing. Air Canada put out a statement saying that safety was not compromised. They said all their pilots go through mandatory recurrent training every 6 months and a flight check with a certified Transport Canada check pilot every 12 months. And Geoffrey was passing all of those, every time. Which somehow makes this story even weirder. Because what this means is that Geoffrey Wall could actually fly these planes. He just never went through the official process of proving it on paper, in the right way, at the right level. He had the skill, apparently, just not the stamp. But here's where it gets messier. Because police say that at some point during this 17-year run, Geoffrey filed a false police report. They believe he reported that his pilot documentation had been stolen. Investigators looked into it and concluded the theft never happened. They think he made it up, possibly to explain away some inconsistency in his paperwork, possibly to buy himself more time. The investigation isn't fully public yet, so we don't know the exact details. But that's a whole other level of commitment to the bit. Now, the whole thing starts unraveling in 2025. Geoffrey Wall retires from Air Canada, and sometime around his retirement, the airline starts reviewing his documentation, and they find anomalies, things that don't add up, dates that don't match, certifications that can't be verified, and so they flag it. Police launch an investigation called Project Icarus, which is honestly the perfect name, because Icarus is the guy from Greek mythology who was given wings and then flew too close to the sun and fell. And that is exactly what happened here. Geoffrey flew for 17 years, then he retired, And on the way out the door, the wings came off. Project Icarus runs for 4 months, and on June 1st, 2025, police arrest Geoffrey Wall at 59 years old. He's charged with 7 criminal counts: fraud, uttering forged documents, public mischief. The deputy chief of Peel Regional Police holds a press conference and says, and I'm not making this up, he says, "This investigation and the details surrounding it read like a movie script." And he's right, because this is almost exactly the plot of Catch Me If You Can, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie from 2002, where a con artist impersonates a Pan Am pilot and nobody catches him for years. Except that was based on events from the 1960s, and people assumed that kind of thing couldn't happen anymore. Too many checks, too many systems, too much oversight. Except it happened. Right now, on Boeing 787s, in 2025. Geoffrey's first court appearance is scheduled for June 29th in Brampton, Ontario. Police say they don't believe anyone else was involved. No inside help, no co-conspirators, just one guy who decided in 2009 that he was going to skip the paperwork and see how far he could get. Turns out he could get pretty far. 17 years, 900 flights, $2 million, and tens of thousands of passengers who had no idea the man up front wasn't fully certified to be there. And the wildest part of all of this, he retired first. Geoffrey Wall finished his career, collected his salary, and walked away on his own terms. The whole thing only came apart because Air Canada reviewed his documents after he was already gone. If he had been just a little more careful with the paperwork, if the anomalies had been a little less obvious, if nobody had looked too closely on the way out the door, Geoffrey Wall might have gotten away with it completely. He almost did. And somewhere out there right now, there are tens of thousands of people who flew Air Canada between 2009 and 2025 who just found out their captain may not have been who the uniform said he was.